And we are live. Hello to all my BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of NXTilosos, your NXT review show here at BC WrestlePod. My name is Mikey, and I am here doing a quick solo review of NXT from this past Tuesday night. I'm excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. But unfortunately, my other two co hosts could not be here as they are currently busy with other things. And that is okay. But I am here to give you the rundown for NXT really quickly. We are less than a week away from NXT's next PLE, Halloween Havoc. And I'm really excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. But before I get into all of that, as we always do here at BC WrestlePod, we have a bit of the announcements really quickly. If you like what you see here, follow us on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. Follow us on the social medias at BC WrestlePod. And we have merchandise available at bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com. So, without further ado, let's just jump straight into this. So, I am going to be reviewing the Tuesday, October 14th edition of NXT. Again, we got some setup. We got a couple matches made for Halloween Havoc. And let's just jump into it because we kick things off with our NXT champion, Ricky Saints, as he comes down to cut a promo. Last week at Showdown between NXT and TNA, he calls out Trick Williams for abandoning the NXT team, and he lays down the challenge. He wants to give Trick Williams an opportunity at Halloween Havoc for the NXT championship. This prompts Trick Williams to get on the screen and basically tell Ricky that it's not going to happen right now. It's going to be on his time. So essentially, we are setting up Ricky and Trick to be what is going to be going down at Halloween Havoc. I wonder if this is going to be Trick's final NXT match before maybe possibly heading up to main roster, but who knows? And I don't know if he gets a rematch for the TNA World Championship after losing it to Mike Santana this past Sunday at Bound for Glory, but time will only tell. So we're going to revisit Ricky and Trick later in the show, but this is what opens up the show. I thought this was fine. Again, we got 2 weeks until Halloween Havoc, so we got to start building our matches and getting the card together for that one. So after this, we head backstage where Javon Evans and TNA's Leon Slater, who is also TNA's X Division champion, they talk about how Dark State ruined their match at Bound for Glory by interfering in the 5 more minutes portion of the match. But the Hardys come in. They promise that Dark State is getting their rematch at Halloween Havoc and that they're going to get justice for Leon and Javon. And they're going to get the lick back for them by beating up Dark State at Halloween Havoc. So we get our first official match made here, where it's going to be the Hardys versus 2 members of Dark State for the NXT Tag Team Championships. I love that the Hardys are out here collecting tag team championship belts across the wrestling world. And you know what? I like them. I really, really do. They're fun. We're heading into the final era of them. They probably don't have much longer to go, but this is the official first made match. And what's also really important here is that Javon and Leon say to the Hardys that if they need, support, that they're there with them. So that tells me we're probably going to get a 4-on-4 style of match between Dark State and the Hardys, and then Javon and Leon. So we're going to talk about the Hardys a little bit later because Dark State did make their presence known. But right now, we're going to get into our first match, which is Josh Briggs versus TNA's Matt Cardona. I thought this was a really solid match. I'm not going to lie. I had a good time with this one. This was a lot of fun for me. And you know what? I really thoroughly enjoyed doing this. Not gonna lie. And this is going to be one of those matches where I'm gonna be honest. I thought, you know what? Something's gonna happen. Josh Briggs is gonna play dirty. But no, Josh beats Matt Cardona clean. I thought this was a really fun match. I'm very interested to see where Josh Briggs goes next. But only time's going to tell. And you know what? This was fine. It was what it was. Next match, we get Lexis King versus Triple A star El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. I thought this was another fun match. Again, for anybody who is not familiar with El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., the Wagner family has a long lineage of lucha libre and luchadores in Mexico. And of course, he is the AAA Latin American champion. There's a lot of crossover between WWE and AAA. Ethan Page and El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. have been kind of beefing over the last 2 months or so. Honestly, probably since Worlds Collide, not even gonna lie. But it was a really quick match. It showcased El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. to the audience. And afterwards, he gets on the mic. He calls out Ethan Page. He tells Ethan comes out being a heel, as we love him for. First in Spanish, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. tells Ethan, we're going to have a match. It's going to be a Day to the Dead match. Ethan's like, I don't know what you said, but you're on. And then he El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. reiterates in English that at Halloween Havoc, it is going to be Ethan Page versus El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. for the NXT North American Championship in an anything goes Dia de los Muertos match. I don't know what a Dia de los Muertos anything goes match is going to entail, but my money is on is probably going to be a glorified street fight. Now, do I think El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. is going to win? Probably not. But I do appreciate AAA talent coming over to NXT and getting that exposure. I'm having a good time with it. So this is the second match that is officially made for Halloween Havoc next Saturday, which is going to be, again, for the NXT North American Championship. This is a Dia de los Muertos, anything goes type of match between the challenger, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., and champion All Ego Ethan Page. Lexis King is out here just getting his butt whooped, which is fine. He kind of needs to anyways because of his character, which makes a lot of sense. So I am excited for next Saturday to see how that anything goes street fight, Dia de los Muertos match goes. Should be a good time. I'm not going to lie. Which, again, this is where the moment this match was made, and I'm excited. We get a video package next, basically telling us, Lainey Reed is now the newest member of Fatal Influence. And my money is on Lainey kind of being the one to play devil's advocate and being in the ear of Fallon, because I don't know who is going to take the NXT Women's Championship from JC. We're going to get into our main event battle royale, because as much as I would love for the person who won to be champion, I don't think it's going to happen. And ultimately, I kind of think it's going to be Fallon. And I think Lainey is going to play a part of it to bring JC down a peg or two. But essentially, we get 3 members again in Fatal Influence, and Lainey is here because Jasmine is no longer with the company. She did not re-sign, and it is what it is. So sure, fine, why not? I don't necessarily hate it. I don't think it's amazing either, but I think it's just fine. I think this faction works better with the trio. So, and I think Lainey's a lot of fun, and I think she can add a lot. But after this, we get into our third match, one that I was looking forward to because I love both of these women. We get Zarya taking on Blake Monroe. I was wondering where we were going with Blake after her steel cage match with Jordynne Grace. I thought we were going to get one more match between the two to kind of blow it off, but it seems that we are pivoting Blake to go after the NXT Women's North American Championship, because she and Zarya and Sol Ruca had an interaction last week on Showdown. And so we get this match made. I thought this was a lot of fun. I had a good time with this one. Of course, Blake Monroe is out here trying to cheat. Sol Ruca comes out for support to try to help Zarya with the chair. Unfortunately, she ends up causing a distraction, which would allow Blake to hit the throat of Zarya with a hair clip, which was kind of crazy to watch. and Blake Monroe ultimately beats Zarya. Later in the evening, we would see Sol feel so bad for costing Zarya her match against Blake Monroe that Zarya would be in the women's Battle Royale #1 contender match, and Sol Ruca gives up her spot for Zarya, so Zarya can get a chance for that. Which now makes me believe, because I originally thought we were on the train of Zarya and Sol Ruca splitting, but I think that we are going to keep them together. And what I hope to see is by Stand and Deliver this next year, I would love to see Sol Ruca become NXT Women's Champion. And her and Zarya have that match there where Zarya finally turns on Sol, but it's for the NXT Women's Championship. I had a fun time with this match, obviously outside of Battle Royale, because it's not Battle Royale as a specialty type of match. This is probably my favorite match of the whole entire night. I had a good time with this one, and I love Zarya and Blake Monroe. So very excited to see where we go with the story of these two plus Sol Ruca in the mix. Ricky Saints gets attacked backstage by Trick Williams, and later in the show, Ricky gets mad and upset with Trick and wants to fight him. Ava tells him that Trick has already left the building. So next week, Ricky and Trick are going to have a contract signing, and we know how contract signings go in wrestling. They never go the way that they are supposed to. But we are going to have to wait until next week's review to see all that. We get an announcement from Ava, just like with the Women's Speed Championship. We're going to hold an interbrand men's tournament to see who is going to be facing El Grande Americano for the WWE Speed Championship. And so we have 2 semifinal matches, which is going to see SmackDown's Axiom versus WWE Evolved Talent Super Sean Legacy. And then in the second semifinal, it is going to be NXT's Jasper Troy taking on TNA's Zachary Wentz of the Rascals. So my money, I think it's going to end up being Fraxium. Not Fraxium. It's going to be Axiom and probably Jasper, unfortunately. But ultimately, I think it's going to be Axiom going up against Grande Americano Latte because it's fun that way. And again, the Speed Championships are interesting. Not my cup of tea, to be honest, but hey, you know what? They're trying to maintain the Speed Championships, and here we are. We're supposed to get a triple threat tag team match between Chase U, Hank and Tank, and, you know, all that good stuff. So technically that match is supposed to happen with the calling as well. But it doesn't happen because we only get about 7 minutes in, and then all the teams are attacked by a returning OTM out the mud, which is leading into a match that's going to happen next week between Hank and Tank and OTM. But yeah, once again, the men's tag team championship division are having a really rough go. I feel that since Dark State took the titles and now the NXT titles are in the Hardys, we're still in the process of trying to build up the men's division, which is kind of weird to say. But it is what it is at this point, to be completely honest. So I'm not the biggest fan of OTM's character, but it is something that I can deal with. It's not necessarily the worst thing to happen. Speaking of which, I talked about the Hardys earlier, and now we get to what I was alluding to, where Dark State just beats the crap out of them, attacks them backstage, and again, we are getting this rematch at Halloween Havoc, the Hardys versus Dark State for the NXT Tag Team Championships. We got next week is the go home show, so at this point, it is what it is. Previewing what we're getting next week, we got a lot of stuff coming down the line. Of course, we are getting our 2 WWE Men's Speed Championship semifinal matches. Again, Axiom and Super Sean Legacy, and then Jasper Troy versus Zachary Wentz. We're getting the contract signing between Trick Williams and Ricky Saints for the NXT Championship match at Halloween Havoc. We're getting a tag team match of Hank and Tank versus Out the Mud, OTM. And we are also getting a surprise TNA X Division Championship match next week where TNA's Leon Slater will be defending the X Division Championship against NXT's Channing Stacks Lorenzo. I think this is fun because Leon Slater fighting everybody in NXT is kind of what we're hoping for, and it's great. But we get into our main event, which is a 20-woman inter-brand battle royale to determine who becomes the number one contender to face JC Jane for the NXT Women's Championship at Halloween Havoc. And we have girls from NXT and TNA in this one, and I had a good time with this one. But the biggest surprise to come out of this match, though, is that Tatum Paxley is your winner and is the number one contender. She outlasts by eliminating, kind of assisting eliminating Izzy Dame and Jordan Grace as they collided with each other over the top rope. And Tatum Paxley is going to Halloween Havoc to face JC Jane for the NXT Championship. Do I think Tatum is going to win? Absolutely not. But I think it's really fun to give Tatum the spotlight because I think Tatum is amazing. And I'm interested because afterwards, Izzy wasn't there to celebrate with Tatum. It was, in fact, one Miss Lyra Valkyria. Lyra comes out. She was earlier in the show. She comes out to celebrate with Tatum as NXT goes off the air for the week. Again, this was a quick episode. This was not a lot. This episode needed to be what it had to be. Last week we had the TNA NXT showdown, and now we are 2 weeks out from Halloween Havoc, so we got to build up everything happening at Halloween Havoc. And you know what? I had a fun time with this one. Ultimately, I gave NXT a solid B. I had a good time. This episode set in place some matches for Halloween Havoc. We got our number one contenders for the women's title. We are getting a contract signing next week for the NXT men's title. And who else knows what we're getting at Halloween Havoc? So with that being said, that's going to be it for us here at the NXT review show. Come around later tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific as the CMLL crew will be here to review another episode of Viernes Espectacular. But we also have some other fun stuff happening later this week. So let us take a quick sneak peek as to what the rest of the week, remains. So as I said before, later on tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific, we are going to be reviewing CMLL, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, I will be doing a quick review for the WWE Evolve Succession event. We got 3 matches made for that, so not sure why we're promoting Succession, especially if it's not going to be like a quick pay-per-view event with 5 or 6 matches, but I'm still going to have fun with it. Then on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, it is going to be the TNA crew. We will be here to review TNA's Bound for Glory pay-per-view, which happened this past Sunday. We got new champs. We got some stuff to talk about, and we're going to have a good time. And then we are wrapping up our weekends with Sunday, the 19th at 11:30 a.m. Pacific with Dual Dynasty, where we're going to be covering Raw and SmackDown. So make sure to tune in for all that stuff that we got going on this upcoming week. And I'm excited. Thank you for being here for this quick NXT review. Once again, come back at 8 p.m. Pacific for the CMLL review. But until then, that's going to be it for me. So from all of us here at BC WrestlePod, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you later tonight for the CMLL review. But until then, this is Sayonara, adios, and until next time, peace.